Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to go over a story titled, Am I the a-hole if I call off an engagement because of a comment my fiancé made about my late wife? And guys, this story is all about a husband and father. His wife passed away. She died in a car accident years earlier, and he was left alone to raise two kids. And after years of a few years of mourning and all that, he met another gal, and after a few years got serious with her. He's going to get married to her. But you're going to see here, that all comes to an abrupt ending after a comment she made about his late wife at a big family dinner. And let me tell you guys, it's going to have your mouths dropping to the floor when you hear this whole thing. And here's the deal. It really reveals the crazy going on with his fiancée. And of course, he handles things properly. But the point of the whole thing is, guys, is that it's so important, as I say all the time, to do your homework on the women you're involved with. You can't rush into relationships with them. And if you are going to get married, you need to be with them for years, because people can really hide who they are. And a lot of guys that may have gone through a bad divorce or breakup, or maybe their wife or girlfriend passed away somehow and they had an amazing relationship with them, they're hurting for a long time, understandably, and they want to help get something nice in their life again, and they rush into relationships and they don't see the person, and they love who they think they are but not who they really are. And meanwhile, other people around them can see their issues, but they don't either listen to them, or people just don't want to say anything. So you got to do your homework. And you're going to see here, this guy, he's about to see really the extent of her craziness, but there are definite signs along the way, and you'll pick up on that and you'll see that. So that'll be it's a longer one, but pretty entertaining one to go over here today. He says, for some background information, I'm 43 years old. I have two kids with my late wife, Kayla. Sam, who's 21, and Liz, 16. All fake names. Kayla passed away when our kids were 15 and 10 years old. I won't give specifics about how she passed, but she was struck by a drunk driver when she was on her way home from work. That is terrible. I hope that drunk driver spends the rest of his or her life in prison. She really was the love of my life. To say that her passing hit our family hard would be a giant understatement. I promised myself that if I ever got back into the dating game, I wouldn't date anyone for at least a couple of years for the sake of my kids. Good. You can't just jump back in that quickly. You got to heal. And of course, take care of the kids and you and all that. 3 years after my wife's passing, I met my now fiancée. We will call her Amanda. Things went slow, and I didn't introduce her to my kids until we had been dating for about a year at that point. Now we've been together for 3 years and are engaged. Amanda and my kids have always had a good relationship. Neither of my kids are super close to her, but they have always been friendly and welcoming to her. And Amanda has never overstepped any boundaries my kids have, like trying to replace their mother. Okay, sounds like a pretty good deal. They go along with her, she gets along with them, not overstepping any boundaries, blah, blah, blah. He's moving along a little too quickly, in my opinion, to get engaged to her so quickly. He should have waited a few more years, and you're about to see why. But, I'm glad he's moving on, and he's seemingly happy. At the beginning of Amanda and my relationship, I was a bit insecure of the fact that I was a widower. During the first few months of us dating, she would constantly ask things like, if Kayla had never passed, would I still be with her right now? What are you talking about? Of course, if she didn't pass, I wouldn't be with you. That's a red flag. I always kept my answers brief and told her that I didn't like thinking about what ifs, and that she was the one I was dating now, and that was what mattered. Eventually, she stopped making these comments, and I stopped worrying about it. Well, that was a red flag. And it's interesting how he was talking about earlier, like, great relation. She gets along well with the kids and doesn't try to step on my ex-wife's toes or my late wife's toes, that type of thing. But she's asking questions like that. That's bizarre. That says a lot. Now to the issue. My parents were hosting a family dinner to celebrate my fiancé and my engagement. It was my mom and dad, my late wife's sister and her husband, Sam and Liz, and me and Amanda. Dinner was going well, and we were all making small talk with each other and talked about wedding plans. About halfway into dinner, my mom made a comment about how she was so happy I was able to find the spark I had with Kayla in someone else. I don't think anybody really paid much attention to the comment, but then Amanda laughed and said, now listen to this, I'm happy she died. Otherwise, I would have never gotten him to myself. That's freaking psycho. The tone of the dinner immediately shifted and everyone got extremely tense, especially my kids. She's actually saying to this dude's family, his parents, his children, who were his late wife's children, and her family, I'm glad she died, otherwise I wouldn't have. Are you freaking kidding me? This goes back to her asking that question, like, if she hadn't passed, would you still be with me? Holy crap. I can imagine the silence, like, what the fuck? Psycho. Amanda noticed the shift and started awkwardly laughing, like she was trying to play her comment off as a joke. Nope, no one sees that as a joke, honey. I was honestly just frozen, as that was the first time she had made a comment like that. My kids looked disgusted, and Liz got up and walked out to the car. You're darn right. Sam waited a bit longer, then he wanted me to say something, but I was still in shock about what Amanda had said. Yeah, sometimes in life, guys, somebody can say something, and normally you would say or do something, but you're in such shock and disbelief somebody said something, you're like, time freezes. To make a long story short about the dinner was kind of ruined. So I said my goodbyes to everyone, grabbed my fiancé, and we all drove home. My daughter has not spoken to me or Amanda since it's been 3 days. I got tired of it, pulled my son aside to ask him what I should do. Ask your son what to do? You're the fucking man here. You're the dad here, for goodness sake. Smack! Why do you think she's not talking to you? Think about it. He says something along the lines of, I'm a grown man and don't care who other grown man marries, but I don't want a woman who speaks like that about her mother around my sister. You're darn right. This chick's crazy. You could already sense the crazy before. Would you date me? Would we be together if she didn't pass? Of course we wouldn't be together. But I'm with you now. Sam's comment stuck with me, and I'm now considering calling off the engagement entirely. She never made comments like this before, but I'm worried if I let it slide this one time, it'll be more frequent and will affect my daughter. I need some advice from outside perspectives and just what to do right by my kids. Would I be the a-hole if I call off the engagement because of the comment she made? No. What matters to you more? This broad who you've known a few years, who clearly has got some screws loose and jealousy issues and that type of thing? Or the love and respect of your children, your daughter, your son? The honor, the memory of your late wife, who you said was a great wife and mother, your family. Are you freaking kidding me? This chick, these are the signs here. You cannot marry her. She's actually jealous of the deceased. As an edit, he says here, wow, I did not expect to get this much advice so shortly after posting this. Nonetheless, thank you all for the advice and even the people calling me a bad father. I think you guys' words are what I need to pull my head out of my butt. I'll try to talk to my kids alone tonight before speaking with my fiancé, and we'll see where it goes from here. I'm pretty sure my fiancé and I are over, though. I'll update late tonight or tomorrow on how the talks with everyone goes. Thank you all for your setting my head straight. Yeah, this is a situation where the Reddit comments are beneficial. Yeah. You side with your daughter, your son, your late wife, not this wacko. Now to an update. He says here, I promised I would update everyone after I talked to my kids, so here is the update. It's kind of long, so I hope that doesn't go against the rules of this community. I'm also going to use this update as a way to clarify some of the questions people were asking in the comments. Number 1. Did my fiancé apologize to anyone at the dinner party? No, she did not. I honestly don't think it's even registered or has registered to her what she said was wrong. What does that tell you? Think about it. 2. Does fiancé have social anxiety? Not to my knowledge, no. In all the time I've known her, she's never shown any signs of social anxiety and doesn't have a history of it. Yeah, she's just a wacko. 3. How old was my late wife? She was 37, and when she passed, we were the same age. Amanda is 41. A lot of people were asking for clarification on the time frame of her passing and when my fiancé and I met. At this point in time, Kayla has been gone for 6 years, and I met Amanda roughly 3 years after Kayla passing. I didn't mention either of their ages as I didn't believe it was important because we're so close in age, but I understand why a lot of guys would want to know. Now that I've clarified the things I was most asked about in the comments, we can get on with the updates. While I'm writing this update, it's the day after I talked to my kids. So last night at 5:30 p.m., my fiancée left for work. She works nights, mostly days of the week, so I was able to call my son and ask if he could come over so I could talk to him and his sister. He goes to our local college and lives in an apartment near his school. When he started college, he wanted to move out, but I also wanted to stay close to us, so he settled on an apartment a few blocks away from the college. He came over, and I called him and his sister in the living room. to talk with both of them. When they both were seated, I told them point blank that I didn't think the wedding was happening anymore, and that comment she made was unacceptable. I then, by the advice of the commenters, apologized to them. Good, man. Good, you should apologize to them. I mean, again, this guy was shocked. He couldn't believe what was happening there. He hit it like what the fuck just happened? But clearly seeing how upset his daughter was and the son. And believe me, the daughter wasn't being a drama queen. The daughter, her reaction was warranted. And she's probably like, oh my God, my dad is marrying this freaking monster. And she's going to become my stepmother. This woman would drive a wedge between him and his kids. Guaranteed. I told him I was sorry for not saying anything for so long and that letting the tension thicken in our home. I told my daughter that I understood why she hasn't spoken to me and I am sorry for allowing her to think that I was even remotely okay with what she had said. I felt pretty spineless after we had gotten back from dinner that night, so I wanted to do everything in my power to make it right with my kids during the conversation. My daughter told me that she felt disgusted at the comment Amanda made, and even more so when I didn't defend her mother. She then told me that the past 2 years that she's known Amanda, she felt like she's been gradually trying to push her and Sam away from me. Ding, ding, ding. There's a reason that there were so many fairy tales about the wicked stepmothers and that type of thing. I'm sure many of you guys know what I'm talking about here, because there's a lot of fucking truth to that, and it's really sad. I've known people that have had wicked stepmothers and all that. One of the examples Liz gave me was when my son moved out. He moved out when he was about to start his sophomore year in college, and when he mentioned the idea of moving out, Amanda was the one who took that and ran with it. According to Liz, Amanda was the one encouraging Sam the most to move out. To be clear, I was never against Sam moving out, but I was clear to him that he was always welcome to live at home for his college years, and even after he found out where he wanted to be. I asked Sam if he felt pushed out by Amanda, and if that's why he moved out. He said he hadn't felt pushed out before he told everyone he wanted to move, but after he put it out there, my fiancé kept pushing for him to move out. Liz cut in and said that every time she brings up college, Amanda keeps encouraging her to go out of state. This is not an accident. Liz does not plan on going out of state, and she's been open about wanting to go to college. Sam is attending right now. Liz said she feels like Amanda is waiting till she graduates high school and goes to college so she can move out. A lot of comments were right about the subtle comments eventually turning into Amanda wanting my kids pushed away from me. Liz said she was scared by the time I eventually noticed the way Amanda was acting, too big of a wedge would have already been driven between me and them. I told my kids that I'm sorry it's taken me this long to notice, and that I was also sorry they've been walking on eggshells for so long. So when he described in the beginning that, yeah, things are great, with her and the kids and all that, well, not so great. But this guy, understandably after what he'd been through, because he was dealing with the pain and the loss of his wife, and obviously raising the kids that were no doubt messed up with their mom dying so suddenly, he was dealing with a lot, not to mention the financial issues. And so he wanted to believe that things were good. One can understand, but you always have to pay attention. And it's unfortunate his kids couldn't go to him, I hugged my kids and told them that no matter what, they are my top priority, not Amanda or anybody else. A lot of comments point out that even though my son is grown, he still needs his father, and I made sure to let my son know that I will always be there for him and his sister even when they are well grown. That's great. You're a good dad. Look, he made a mistake. People make mistakes, but you try to redeem yourself. The entire conversation lasted about 2 hours, and we covered a lot of the bases we wanted to, and got emotional on all sides. In short, Amanda and I are done. Hallelujah. Now he's got to break it to her. I made a point to tell my kids that none of the situation is their fault and that Amanda is the grown woman who said what she said. My kids and I are okay right now, but they aren't 100% with me and probably won't be for a while. I'm completely fine with that and just want my kids comfortable in their own home. In other words, some damage has been done, but they can work on that and all. Amanda has tomorrow off from work, so I plan on talking to her tomorrow. I also plan on calling my mother to ask her why she thought it was okay to even bring up Kayla at the dinner. I don't want my daughter here when it all goes down, so she's staying tonight and tomorrow night with Sam. Look, if the mom was hosting a dinner and she wanted to bring it up, the mom can do that. So that's where I am right now. Not super happy about the outcome of me and Amanda, but would rather have my kids happy and healthy than have a wife. Again, thank you everyone for the advice and the harsh words. I'll update after I called off with Amanda. Thank you everyone. Well, we'll be looking forward to your update, and that will be in a few seconds. But It's just like, obviously he wasn't with this chick long enough and didn't really get, but he also, even then when he was with her, he turned a blind eye to her true colors because I think he just really wanted to be happy again. But then again, really, you got to get married to be happy? Couldn't this guy just be in a relationship and see where it goes? Now to his update. He says here, okay, everyone, here's the update you guys have been waiting for. Again, this is a long post, even longer than the last update, and I suggest reading my previous post if you haven't had the context of this situation. So where we last left off, my kids and I talked, made up, and my daughter is staying with her bro so she doesn't get caught up in what is about to happen with my new ex-fiancé. Before the hard part of the day, breaking up with Amanda, I made a call to my mom to let her know my situation. I'm sure his mother was doing fucking cartwheels. Just hope she doesn't break a hip. A lot of the comments told me not to bash my mom for the comments she made. Now, thinking back on the situation with a clear mind, the comment my mother made towards Amanda was most definitely a compliment towards her. And that was confirmed in the call I had with her. My mother, bless her heart, felt extremely guilty for the entire situation. Well, you know what? If Mom hadn't said that, then Amanda wouldn't have said what she said and wouldn't lead to, and probably me breaking up with her now, which he needs to do. She fully believed the situation all stemmed from her one comment. I assured her that none of the situation was her fault and that I never blamed her one bit for any of this. We talked a bit before I let her go. The call ended about 9:15 in the morning and I was left waiting for Amanda to wake up. She woke up around 10:30 a.m. and I didn't want to ambush her straight after she woke up, so I waited until about 11:10 to sit her down and talk. That must have been the longest 40 minutes of his life. A lot of people in the comments suggested to secretly video the whole thing. I thought that was extremely smart, so I had my phone set to record in my back pocket the entire time. I didn't think she tried to do anything drastic, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Very smart, record this because she is about to get a whole lot of emotional. The talk with her went on about as well as anyone can imagine, so not at all. I told her I needed to talk with her and that it was serious, and we sat down in the living room. When we were all seated, I began unloading on her about the comments she made about Kayla at my parents' house. How it made my kids feel, how it made me feel, her lack of apology, or any sort of acknowledgement to what she said, and so on. Here we go with the BS. Gaslighting, tears, drama, not what you think. I told her I expect her to give an apology to my parents, my in-laws, and most importantly, my kids. During the entire time me unloading on her, she didn't seem to show any bit of emotion other than her eyes, which were slightly wider than normal. Slightly wider than normal. Sounds to me like she's got crazy eyes. There are certain female politicians right now that I'm sure many of you guys have seen that have crazy eyes. You can tell they're nuts by looking at their eyes. One of them is a certain Democratic congresswoman from the Bronx, I believe, in New York City. And that gal has the crazy eyes, and you can tell. You all know who I'm talking about here. And there's other ones. So no, she's in shock about this whole thing. She's giving him the crazy eyes. After I spoke my truth, she straight up asked me, so if I apologize to everyone, will we go back to normal? You're missing the point, soon-to-be ex-fiancé. I told her point blank no. I told her that the comment she made at dinner was not the extent of the problems with her. I then told her that I know she heavily pressured Sam to move out when he wasn't even sure he wanted to at that point in time, and that I also know she's now trying to do the same with Liz. I did my absolute best to leave my kids out of the situation, but told Amanda that the way my kids described her treatment towards them was the main reason I don't see a future with her anymore. Oh, she's going to lose it. She's going to say those kids don't want anybody else in their lives but their mother, and I tried my best, and blah, 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 blah. Amanda was stone-faced up until I told her we were done. I think that's when the panic set in for her. She kept saying that she'll apologize to everyone, that she'll make it right with my kids, etc. I told her that if she apologizes, I will certainly appreciate it, but we are still done either way. And there's no way she's going to apologize. She was full-on crying at this point and asked me, why wasn't I willing to try and fix our relationship? Because there's no fixing what you have in you, Amanda. And I told her that even though I loved her, and I'll be honest, I still love her very much, I was not willing to take another chance of my kids being hurt against the way they were. I was frustrated and shot back at her asking why she was trying to push my kids out of their own home. And I got back an answer I was not expecting. I was completely shocked at her response, but a lot of you guys won't be. A lot of commenters actually hit the nail on the head with what Amanda was truly like. Amanda responded with, "Well, I didn't know you expected me to house somebody else's kids for the rest of my life." There you go. The rest of your life? No, the boy just went off to college. Okay? A lot of young guys and gals will live with their parents during college to save money on, the expensive room and board lodging at college, and eventually they'll find their own place in this world, move out, but immediately making a big exaggeration here, housing someone else's kids forever. What a load of crap. I immediately saw red, and after about a minute, I told her to get out. I told her that my kids can go wherever they damn well please, especially in the house that I own and pay for. Good job, my man. Yeah, this is his house, not hers. She tried to retaliate, but in the end, she packed up a few bags and going to stay with one of her friends. Awesome. I emailed a copy of the phone recording to myself. The talk only lasted about 25 minutes, not nearly as long as the talk I had with my kids. So if anything ends up coming in the conversation, I have all I need to keep my name clear. I've texted my kids that Amanda is out of the house for good, and they are welcome to come home anytime. And let my son know that if he wants to, he is more than welcome to move back in completely. Flip a coin, the son may like living on his own. My daughter is coming back from her brother's place in the afternoon, and I still have phone calls to make my parents and in-laws to apologize about this mess of the situation. Amanda's out of the house, but keeps blowing up my phone for us trying to work things out. I'll let her come by in the next few days so she can collect the rest of her stuff out of my house, but she's not welcome to live here again. Good for you, man. Good for you. Look, a lot of guys get into relationships after a marriage goes south. They really want something better, but they rush into things. They don't pay attention to red flags. They truly hope they have the rose-colored glasses on, and everybody else sees the mess. So thank God this guy listened to his kids. But I have to wonder if she didn't say what she said at the table, and the kids came in with all this. Would he be doing this? Who knows? But that whole thing she said earlier about, would you still be with me if she hadn't passed, type of thing, that says a lot. I'll be honest and say that I'm a bit devastated. Despite everything Amanda did, I still love her, and I probably won't stop loving her for a minute. But I'll be okay. No, you love who you thought she was. She was putting on a show. She was a certain way around your kids, or you turned a blind eye to things. So no, she's not you're not in love with her. You're in love with who you thought she was. Right now, I just want to focus on the family that needs me, and will use this situation as an excuse to bond more with my kids. Another big thank you to everyone who helped me in the comments. A lot of the advice you guys gave me played a part in making things right that night with my family. I'll update if anything else big or important happens, but as of now, I'm taking it one step at a time and making it right with my family. Good. That's all you can do, man. You're young. You're 43. Shit, you're younger than me. As I get older, these guys in these stories get younger. It's kind of crazy to me. But you're going to be okay. But make things right with your kids. Make sure you get that chick all her shit out of the house. And it ain't over with her. Oh, she's going to keep trying because she invested years with you to get a ring on her finger. And I got to wonder, is this guy her first husband? Has she been divorced? I guess she doesn't have any kids. Yeah, it ain't over with her. But the guy can take it one day at a time, rebuilding things with his kids. He'll be okay. Now the final update, because of course it's not over yet. Wow, I cannot believe it's been almost a year since everything went down, and my posts still have so much traction. So we're talking a year later. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who's been engaged in my story, and even bigger thank you to those who shared their own stories and advice when I was between a rock and a hard place. Everything that happened honestly feels like a lifetime ago, which has reminded me that I'm getting older as I'm 44 years old now. Well, you're not that old because I'm 46, and I don't think I'm old. Liz turned 17 a few months ago, and Sam is about to be 22. Happy birthday, Liz and Sam. Life has honestly been pretty peaceful since I broke things off with Amanda. Imagine that. Peace in a man's life when he's not married, or with some crazy bitch. I'll give a quick recap to my last update from almost a year ago, when I had the conversation with Amanda. She had stayed at her friend's place for about a week, and I took that time to take the advice of many commenters, and I packed up her stuff like clothes and other small items for her. She had a couple bigger things like chairs and other decor, so I made sure those were the only things she was allowed to come in the house for. I got the locks changed per advice as well. Very smart. I will say that a lot of you commenters thought of things I did not even cross my mind, like the locks. And I'm thankful you guys are a bit more cognitive than me. Well, he should also probably put some surveillance cameras outside and even inside if he wants to go that far. Everything after that was pretty smooth and amicable, which did surprise me. She came by and packed up her things and gave me back the ring, which I didn't want back, but she gave it to me anyway. I'm shocked she gave back the ring. And we didn't talk much. It was calm, but that didn't last because a few weeks later, she was harassing my socials for another chance. There was no way it was going to go that smoothly. I was pretty exhausted by her at that point, so I just blocked her and had my kids block her as well. What do you say here again? Harassing my social. So she's just putting up all these ridiculous posts and everything for the whole world to see. Woe is me, and that bullshit. It's ridiculous. A lot of commenters point out that in my second update that I didn't love her. I loved who I thought she was, and that was spot on, and has helped the process of me moving on much more quickly. There's been radio silence from her and her end since me and my kids blocked her, and since it's been almost a year. I'm pretty confident it will stay that way. Flip a coin. Either you're going to hear from her again or you won't. This whole situation has made me realize I'm perfectly fine and okay with being single for the rest of my life. Good. That's the best place and mindset to be. You don't need another woman to make you happy. You got your kids. I'm sure you got your friends, your bros, your family, your hobbies, your interests, your passions. Now that you realize you don't need someone to make you happy, then you may actually, the window may be opened up to actually meet someone that's sane, that can add some joy to your life, but you can't expect to get joy and happiness from other people. You got to find it in your own way. Maybe people will see that as sad, but I find it a much more acceptable thing. Ending things with Amanda made me realize I don't feel the same love with her as I felt with Kayla, and probably never will with anyone else. That's not fair to me or the person I can potentially date, and I'm content with the family I have around me. Well, it's very likely he'll never ever love another woman the way he loved his late wife. But it doesn't mean that if he meets a gal who actually is sane, I know you guys are all joking about that one, and has good qualities and all that he can't have an enjoyable, pleasant time with her. Doesn't mean you got to marry her. The situation has almost given me a whole new appreciation for my kids. They showed much more maturity and understanding than I ever did at their age, and it's made me love them even more, which I didn't think was possible. Ha. Well, that's great, but your kids also had to grow up real fast. They lost their mother when your boy was 15 and your daughter was 10. Yeah, they could have gone a completely different path and became little juvenile delinquents, but they didn't. They had to grow up quick. Sam still has an apartment. I offered him to move back home, but he declined. He really enjoys having his own bachelor pad, which I understand as I was his age once too. He has a part-time job he really enjoys, and he's been working since his second semester this year, and I think he met a gal. Hey, Sam's growing up. That's great. I'm not sure, but I know my kid, and I'm catching a vibe from him. Liz is amazing as always, and she is enjoying her summer before her senior year of high school. She made an honor roll every year of high school, including this year, and I'm so damn proud of her. Great. Both my kids are such hardworking and generally good people that it's hard not to toot my own horn when I think about it. Sorry for rambling in this post. I love them more than anything and find myself word vomiting about them when I speak about them. I'm sure other dads can relate. Ha. Hey, you've done a darn good job. Another huge thank you to everyone who's been following my story and gifting me all your amazing and not so amazing advice. And also know that I've read your own stories in the comments about your similar experiences. I'm sorry a lot of you guys didn't have the support system I've shown my kids, and I really appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to share your own personal stories. I wish I could give you all the giant dad hugs. This guy's a good guy. He made a mistake with the freaking fiancée, sure. People can make mistakes, but he got rid of her ass, and he's rebuilding. This guy's a good guy. That's about it for now, of course. I'll update you if anything big happens. I don't think it will, though. I think the dust is pretty much settled. Hopefully I don't jinx myself by saying that again. Again, I appreciate all your fine Redditors for following how my kids and I are doing, and I hope this is a satisfying update for you guys. I wish you all the best. So there you go, guys. It ended well. He got rid of the wacko, and she's probably going to be latching on to some other guy who may not be so lucky. But anyhow, that's a crazy one. I mean, and the thing is, the point of the whole thing is, guys, you got to pay attention to red flags. And even though you're going through hard times and want to, obviously, getting together with her was his way of dealing with a lot of things, you still keep your eyes open. And again, after a while, people will show you their true colors after a while. But if you have your head in the sand, you're not going to notice these things. And she showed her sign when she was asking that question in the beginning. Would you be with me if your ex hadn't passed away? or your late wife hadn't passed away. What kind of question's that? And then her saying what she did at the dinner table reveal all the kind of crazy. But it's just too bad the kids had issue with her, but they were obviously too afraid to say something, you know. So guys, definitely do your homework on the gals you get involved with. If any of you guys have, many guys who watch me are married, or at least were married or dating or whatever, and make sure, if you're going to do that again, you make sure your kids actually like the gal and that type of thing, and you take your time really getting to know her. It sounds like you met her and got engaged to her way too soon to really see everything, and there you go. But crazy bitch gets kicked to the curb. I love it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.